Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a screenwriter's rant on brand new cherry flavor. No, it's not called Los Angeles early 90s. That's when it takes place. It's a limited series from Netflix, which maybe could be good. I don't know. This is kind of interesting because this is probably a shot of Los Angeles not in the 90s, but they probably went ahead, took the shot, and then went back in and replaced all the billboards with 90s movies, which I thought was kind of interesting. Child Plays 2, Big Heat, and I don't know what this one is. And some of these are probably the fake movies in that, because it's about the movie industry. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Please check out my books. Links in the description. All available at Amazon.com. Amazon.com, Joan. You can read them free if you have Kindle Unlimited. I sold 2 books this week. I gave Joan her extra treats in the other videos. They're on Bitchute and Rumble. So if you want to see Joan get more treats, and I know she wants to get more treats, check out my books and support the channel. Now, this is about the movie making industry, and it's a typical story. You got a young filmmaker, in this case a woman, who goes to LA, wants to make it big. I can totally relate to this. And she meets an older movie producer who totally screws her over. Completely screws her over somehow. They don't get into it in the trailer. And then she gets so desperate to get revenge because I think he ruins her movie. I think that's what he does. Possibly has sex with her, I don't know, to have the movie made or whatever. Basically, a lot of guys, unfortunately, in LA do this. This is how they hook up with young starlets. Usually it's a young starlet, not a young filmmaker. Anyhow, she goes to a witch. You can see she's a witch because of this. And the witch, basically tells her, what do you want to do? And she curses him. She curses the filmmaker, and then for some reason sticks around in his inner circle to watch him get cursed. But of course, these things don't work out the way you want them to. In classic form, she screws herself just as much as she did the movie guy. Probably because typically what happens... Ooh, that's scary. Typically what happens in Hollywood is, yes, they do screw you over, but once they've screwed you over, then you're kind of in the inner circle. You've been screwed once, maybe compromised a bit. They're willing to go back to you again, usually. Brand new cherry flavor, it's called, August 13th. I'm not, justifying this woman obviously getting taken for a ride or possibly sexually assaulted, but I'm saying that's the way it kind of works in LA. They always say your first one, you lose your first one. You lose your first hit. But then you get in, and then you're in the system, and then they're willing to, hand you a franchise or something to sort of glom off your fame. And then if you work that correctly, then maybe get a 3-picture deal where you could do some of your own stuff, but, the studio wants something in return too. They're just very dishonest about it and tends to be humiliating, if not worse in this case. So she's going to use witches to get back at this guy, but of course it blows up in her face. I'm not super excited about this, even though I like the subject matter. One of the things that really bothered me is they do a cover of Season of the Witch by Donovan, and it's terrible. It's awful. I mean, for me to even mention it, it must be pretty awful. It kind of just sticks out in the trailer, and I don't like it at all. Man, it's just terrible. I mean, I like the Donovan song a lot, but I'm not defending Donovan. I mean, I think, it's a very hippie song. You could update it, but the guy they got to update it, whew, awful. Just plain out awful. I see Mary Steenburgen here, I guess is the witch. I think she's the witch or the witch facilitator. I don't know. This movie seems to play on a lot of gray areas. Not exactly sure what's going on, because it's clear that she screws herself over, opens her up to this stuff. So I'm not sure how this is going to end. Maybe it's a horror, so everybody just kind of ends. Which case it's like, who's the hero in this, this thing? And I'm watching a limited series just to watch everybody die. I'm not sure. Not sure if that's a good thing, but maybe it can be good. I mean, they did The Shining as a limited series, but this is definitely some kind of horror movie with witches. So, you know, interesting enough, I guess. I mean, this is pretty horrible, uh, but I'm not quite sure where this is going or what the message is, other than revenge is bad. So maybe it'll be good. It's on Netflix, and this is the one advantage Netflix has. They can do, instead of doing a movie, they're doing a mini series, right? So the story's longer than just a 2 hour thing. You don't have to jam it all in an hour, and at the same time it ends. So that's a positive thing. I like the format. I'd like to see more of stuff like that from Netflix if it's interesting. Is this interesting? I don't like that music. Really turned me off. So I'm a little bit on the fence. But it comes out in August 13th. Maybe I might watch it if it would really have to suck me in. I mean, that's bigger commitment than just a movie, right? So I probably would have preferred a movie, to be honest, in this case. Simply because it's Netflix and I kind of don't trust Netflix anymore. I kind of worry that there's going to be some really hard Me Too messaging in this that'll ruin the movie. And clearly, it's kind of leaning towards that, but I'm not seeing the sort of heavy-handed stuff that would bother me in a movie. But we'll see. Brand new cherry flavor, August 13th. And that's it for me and Little Joan today. Please check us out on Bitchute and Rumble. Today we got a news blast and this bizarre article about the My Pillow guy. We'll see you tomorrow.